How are you leaders? Tarun Stevenson here for Lead, Communicate, Grow, and in this episode we are going to look at the topic of standing out as a leader. I want to give you 3 ways that you can stand out, especially if you're in a new organization and you're trying to, make your mark or get people to start buying into you as a leader. What are the 3 things that you can do straight away out of the gate to help you get that credibility and start leading effectively? Let's get into it. All right, here we go. We're going to look at 3 ways that you can stand out as a leader, and in particular in the context of if you're new to an organization and you're trying to just build those connections and establish rapport with the people that you're leading, there's some really key things that you can do straight out of the gate that will help you to build influence and credibility and lead more effectively. And the first thing is this, and before I tell you the first thing, I want you to subscribe and follow this channel. So wherever you're listening, whether you're in a podcast, Facebook, or on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button, because we produce this content every week and I don't want you to miss any of our episodes. All right, first one is this: you need to focus on creating relationships. The first thing I do in any organization that I come to for the first time is I spend the first probably 3, 4, 5 weeks sometimes just getting to know people. I spend lots of time just walking around, getting to know my team members, getting to know the people that I have to work with, inquiring about the job that they do, inquiring about how they do it, what they like about the organization, what their hopes are, where they see themselves going, building relationship, who their kids are, their spouse, whatever it might be. Just get to know them and build relationship. Relationship is the foundation of trust. If you can't build trust within an organization as a leader, you'll never develop influence. Influence is really the key that unlocks the door to leadership. If you can't influence people to go in a particular direction, and you can't marshal resources and people capital towards the goal that you have, then you're not leading. All right, so before you get to influence, before you get to goal setting, before you get to vision, before you get to telling people what to do, you need to build that trust equity with people, and that comes through relationships. So the first thing, if you want to really stand out as a leader and get people to buy into you quickly, take the time to get to know them and show them that you care about them as individuals. The second thing I think you need to do is you need to establish a discipline of self-reflection. What does that mean? With every day that you go into a new organization, you need to ask yourself the question: the problems I experienced today, were they because of me, or were they something that needs to be tweaked in the organization? Very often when we come in with fresh eyes, we just see the problems and we say, oh, that needs to be fixed. Well, it may not need to be fixed. It may mean that you just have to ask yourself, why do I think it's a problem? Is it an issue with me? Maybe I just need to let go of what I'm thinking of. Maybe I need to just see things from a different perspective. See, very often things exist in organizations and in teams because they're the ways that people have worked for a long time, or it's the way that suited everybody at the time that they first implemented. And so to come in to a new organization and just say, oh, that's got to change, but not take the time to understand why it's there or why it even exists, will, 1, put you at odds with the people that you have to lead, but 2, it will always also cause you to be an unreflective leader. It will make you believe that your ideas are the only ideas that should be listened to. And so you need to have a rigorous self-reflection discipline where you ask yourself regularly, okay, does that need changing because it needs changing, or because I just need to maybe change the way I'm viewing it or the way that I think about this? Maybe it's not a battle that's worth fighting. Maybe it's not a change that needs to happen right now. And that only comes through self-evaluation. The third thing you need to do is to have a clear understanding of where you want to head and be able to communicate that in a measured way. You might have a really clear vision of where you want to head and goals of what you want to achieve, but if you just go in there like a bull at a gate and start implementing your vision and your goals and your strategies really quickly without taking the time to make sure people have come along on the ride with you, what you might find is that nobody follows you. And so it's good, you've got to have a clear direction, you've got to know where you're going, but learn how to communicate it in a way that bring people along with you. And so the 2 keys to communicating your vision and your direction well is that, first of all, you've got to be communicating what what you're trying to achieve. But the second thing is how are we going to actually do it? Give them a breakdown of the steps that are going to be taken to get there. And I should have actually said 3 things, because the third thing is this. You need to explain to them why it's important. Okay? If people can't see the why that's connected to your what, then they're not going to actually do the how. They need to have a good reason for buying into you. They need to have a good reason for changing the way they do things. They need to have a good reason for actually following you and taking you at face value. And so when you're setting goals, make sure that you are clear about where you want to head. Communicate the how, the what of what you want to do. Communicate the how you're going to get there. But most importantly, you need to communicate the why of why it's important. So that's 3 things that I think you can do to stand out as a leader, especially if you're in a new organization, you're trying to build rapport and build influence with a team. Spend time building relationships, number 1. 3, 4, 5 weeks, just focus on relationships. 2, develop a habit of self-reflection. Don't be too quick to identify all the problems within the team and the organization that you're taking over. Start to ask yourself if you've got some issues that you need to work through as well. And the third one is this: get clear about where you're going, but know how to communicate it well by communicating the what, the how, and the why, and you will find that most people will want to go along with you. I hope that was really helpful. That's just 3 little tips for you to stand out. If you enjoyed it, give me a comment. Let me know what you liked about it. If there's any topics you want me to cover off on our next episode, make sure you let us know in the comments and we'll try to do that for you. If you know people that would benefit from these videos, please share it with them. Give us a like and consider giving us a review. If you're on our podcast, you're listening, give us a review on iTunes podcast or Stitcher or whichever platform you listen to, Spotify. And please give us a comment in YouTube. That just helps the algorithm recognize us and push it up further in the recommendations list, and so other people can benefit from what we're doing. Until next time, I'm Tarun Stevenson. Have a great week.